Hello, welcome to the Made in the South podcast, episode 5. Brought to you by your co-hosts Lisa and Ben Harmon, your favorite mother and son duo. I can't believe we're at 5 episodes now.
We've been wanting to do it for a long time, and then we finally got the first episode, in the can.
Yeah, we recorded it, got it up, got all that behind the scenes stuff ready to go. Right. So now it's a lot more streamlined to get our episodes up online.
Right.
One thing I want to note.
Exciting.
I think I told you this a few days ago, but we're at over 100 downloads on across platforms.
I was very excited when you texted me that. Yeah. I mean, we started this for us in a sense because we want to do something creative. And I was hoping somebody would listen, but
you don't know.
Maybe just 5 family members, but when you texted me and said we have 100 downloads.
I checked this morning, it was like 106.
Well, thank you for those additional 6 people.
All of that is because of you guys for listening. The only way to grow that more is to tell your friends, keep listening yourselves, share our podcast. Like if you see it on Facebook, share our posts, share our Instagram posts.
And we'd love it. You can always go to our Facebook page, which is Made in the South Podcast. Or you can go, should I say this right? Made in the South Pod is our Instagram.
That's correct.
You don't put any, for the people my age, you don't put any spaces.
Yeah, it's all one word. On Instagram.
On Instagram. And that way, maybe to help grow our listener base and our podcast, give us suggestions of people you'd like us to interview, maybe topics you'd like us to talk about, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I know something I was thinking about today is like, we've had 100 downloads. Let's hit 200. Let's try to double our listens. That's kind of our plan. Now, that'll happen naturally as we keep on producing episodes and our listeners watch all of our episodes, but we can make that even faster and try to beat our benchmarks and see what can happen. That'd be pretty crazy if we can get to 200. So
I really appreciate everybody that has followed. I was wanting to say subscribe for, but that's for another platform. But if you follow, that really helps us. We appreciate it.
Subscribe is for YouTube, which we plan to do videos at some point. I have the tools to make videos. We just have not recorded.
We may make some cooking videos just because it's nice to see the steps.
Yeah. And if it's like a short little thing, we might just post on Instagram.
Right.
But if it's like a tutorial, we'll put it on YouTube.
And I have on my professional page, I do have some great videos because I'm an occupational therapist on I don't know the name of it, but it's on my YouTube channel.
We both have a few different channels for different things. So it's, and she's had to move it over to different
I think it's
account
on.
name.
I think if you're like, I gotta see those occupational therapy tips to try. So that's where I think it is. So
I couldn't tell you. I did it for you, but I couldn't tell you which account it's on. But yeah,
he was my director when I made the videos a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you?
The biggest thing is we're on Apple Podcasts now, so we're up and running on Apple Podcasts. I know we made a post on our social media pages, but we are officially on all the major platforms: Google, Audible, Apple, Spotify. I know I said this back when we first did our first episode, but if you guys have any platforms you really want us to be on that we're not on yet, let us know, and I'll try to see what it takes to get on that platform and try to get our podcast there too.
And once again, I helped a friend, another friend, find her purple button,
another one,
added her app library over onto her homepage, and now she's able to listen to podcasts.
That is fantastic. I know that on Job Today, one of our clients came in, and I didn't bring out the podcast because now I was in my work mode, but I saw the purple podcast app, like, oh, there it is.
There's the purple button.
Because I have an Android, so I don't have a purple button.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Funny.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty busy week, pretty crazy. Got a lot going on, a lot that we did recently. I know last weekend we went to the Knoxville Cheese Festival, and that was delicious. Tons of people showed up to support them.
Well, what I found out, and I may be estimating the numbers. I talked to somebody.
But
roughly 60 people came last year, and maybe like 300 came this year.
Yeah, it was
a huge growth.
Yeah. The layout of the venue was great. Definitely a lot more people showed up than I expected, which was fantastic. Which was awesome. I mean, we got there right at 2:00.
At 2.
And it was busy until 6:30. Like it was a hopping place.
The hard part was getting to the cider, and I think next year they're gonna spread that apart. they're going to have a bigger venue. So I assume they're going to spread it, like move it over to the side away, because there's
because
a lot of cheese to get.
They had set up where you entered the event.
Right.
The cider line was right at the main door, and then the cheeses were like behind it. So you could go around the line, but still you got to go all through like the same channel or the same funnel to get to everything, which was okay.
It was okay. But, I mean, we knew we were just going to have fun and have cheese. And what we learned being there together is I went and got cheese for us while my son stood in line for the cider. And I brought him cheese, and then he brought me cider.
Yes. You were the food provider, and I was the drink provider.
We made a divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another thing I liked about that they had at the Cheese Fest down at the Barrel House was they had outside seating. It was a beautiful day. Sat outside, met new people.
Yeah, besides the wind, it was beautiful. I know the wind came through and blew our cups around and stuff, but we got to meet people we never met before. People from, oh man,
I don't know.
We had a few drinks in us at the time, so
they were new to the South, so they were.
They've been here for like a year or two, but they showed a strong accent too.
Yeah. And I won't say any names, but because we don't remember them, but
they were lovely people.
Lovely people, but they were getting kind of used to the friendliness.
Yeah, this is the Southern vibe, the
Southern vibe,
Southern hospitality.
Hey, can you move over so we can sit with you? They were like, oh, sure,
yeah, sure. Let's squeeze together. Yeah, come on in. And then we hung out and. We're all like, we all had a few drinks and some cheese in us. We're all feeling good. We just kind of leaned back. Guy next to me there's a wall behind him. He's chilled back and relaxed. And we're just talking about things and having a good time.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Good time.
I know we met a couple people while at the event, at the festival. We actually talked about our podcast and they were like, oh, what's it called? I want to hear it and learn more about you guys. So we talked about them or talked to them and about our podcast and... Yeah.
It was fun.
It's always fun meeting people and they light up when we tell them, yeah, we're mom and son and we have a podcast together, just hanging out, talking together. And
then they share about their lives. Kind of make new friends while you're waiting in line to get your cider.
Yeah.
And you went to a movie.
Yes, so Tuesday. Well,
I didn't go.
Let's go even farther back because we recorded last episode last Tuesday. Today's Thursday, so we're a bit off schedule-wise. So because we Knoxville Media Fest, we didn't talk about that at all. Because we recorded the day before.
Okay.
We said we were going to it, but we didn't really mention it much, I believe.
Media.
Yeah, the Knox Media where we met the Cookery Channel. I don't think we talked about that, did we?
Where we met. Oh, right.
Yeah, Cole, because we recorded that Tuesday.
They do this once a month, and it's where all the different people in town, whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, directing, it's just kind of everybody gets together and just hangs out.
Yeah.
And we met a really well, Ben talked to him the most. I saw some people I already knew, but talked to them some more. And I don't know if I said this last time, but one of the people at the Knox Media had a great idea about we might take a whole month and just talk about different breweries.
Yeah, do a little brewery tour. There's a lot of local breweries in this area. Like you got Schultzbräu here.
Right.
You have Sweetwater, I believe, is here too. Right. I know some of them aren't necessarily just Knoxville based.
Right.
You got a lot of brewers in this area, and a lot of people that make their own beer too. And I know you have what's the place called?
Zool? Was it Zool?
No, it's certain restaurant, not restaurant, but it's like they only have
here. I have Schultz,
beers,
Geyser, Crafty Bastard, and I think it autocorrected Zoots. I don't think that's it. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
But there's a bunch, and we're gonna try a bunch of them and do a lot of tours and just give our feedback about the vibe of the place and our favorite beers they have. If they have any specials that are specific to their location, kind of give those a try. We'll probably talk about it beforehand too, so if people are listening and want to come hang out with us while we're having beer and relaxing.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah. To kind of do like so if we're going to do like on a weekend.
That might be better.
Talk about for like the upcoming week that we're going.
Like we might talk about when we do our podcast and then so we start it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because our podcast comes out Saturday mornings.
Right.
So we might be going that night on Saturday or Sunday, and then they can join us that day if they want to.
That sounds like a lovely idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but the guy I met at, I won't say his name in case. Well, he has a podcast. So I'll talk about that. So, his name is Cole. He has a podcast with his wife called The Cookery. I believe it's Cookery. Their channel's all about history of food, fun food ideas, and because right now I want to talk about the topic because that's kind of, I don't know if it's published yet,
Right.
But
I've done it.
But they'll get a topic, for example, like spaghetti, and they'll go about the history of spaghetti, who created spaghetti, how popular it is, as a main dish. They go in depth into kind of the serious side of history, and also they might choose a silly idea like Jell-O, like what's the history of Jell-O, and they go into that as well. So,
did it share any dishes or recipes or anything?
I'm sure they do. I have not seen an episode yet. I just talked to them a couple days ago.
I promise we're gonna listen.
Yes, but it sounds really interesting, and
well, we're thinking about going to there's a food truck park called Creekside out in North Knoxville, and we may even talk with them about going with us.
Yeah, we have a contact who may be able to help us get in touch with them to possibly get an interview with them and learn about the history of food trucks and talk about their whole that whole business side.
Another independent business. They have a food truck park.
Because I have an old coworker of mine who he actually runs a food truck business and has a couple stationary stores now. We talk about it off podcast. I don't want to name drop him right now in case he doesn't want me to say his name. But
right.
Yeah, but that was last Wednesday, and but this week, because we're recording later in the week, so today's actually Thursday for us. For you all, it's still Saturday. You all know the difference.
Yeah.
The magic of recording and putting it up on the same day. But so we have a little bit more to talk about this week. So let's hear last week.
The Dogwood Arts, they have a Dogwood Arts Festival at the end of the month, but they have the Dogwood Arts festivities.
Like festivities.
Garden tours happen all month.
Yeah.
And when they're big basically, in my mind, of course, that's what mattered in my mind, it kicks off April 1st.
April 1st, yeah.
Saturday.
That's coming up. I know we're going to the Chalk Walk on Saturday. So we'll be there at the Chalk Walk. If you're listening to this in the morning, we'll be there probably around 10:30, 11.
Because the artists get to start about 8, but I've gone a couple times in the past, and I like to go when they're about halfway finished. And they get to work from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
It's a contest.
I think I read there's like a award ceremony afterwards for.
There is at 7.
Have you ever been to one before?
I have not stayed that long.
It's usually I'm
like shoo by the end of the day.
You get pretty tired being out there, but I'm sure they have a lot of categories. So I have to look them up and see what.
Well, they have a category for elementary school. You can get. There'll be 300 artists. I think like 150 spots because they have a lot of group. They'll have like families. They'll have adults. They'll have individual competitors, elementary, middle, high school. All the people.
Yeah. Do you know how the artists register?
I do not.
I was wondering how you get a spot. If you like claim it early on in the year, or
I don't know if I don't know if there's any spots left, but there is a website for Chalk Walk.
With how popular it is, and with this podcast coming out on the day of the Chalk Walk, there probably won't be any spots left.
I don't think there will, and they do have food trucks. So you can make like a day of it, like go enjoy the artist, have your lunch.
That sounds nice.
Hang out.
It'd be a nice little event we go on this weekend.
And the art is stunning.
I've only seen photos you show me over the years. I've never been personally, but I'm excited to go.
One of my friend's daughters won for the middle school competition last year, and I think I either already did or I will put it up on my Facebook page. Because it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, you can find any of our event photos that we do behind the scenes or photos we take of each other while we're there on our Facebook and Instagram page. We generally post on both places. So
I try to, I keep up with the Facebook, and Ben keeps up with the Instagram.
Yeah, we do a really good job coordinating. We're like, hey, send me these photos you took to my phone so I can upload them and vice versa. We do a little cross, but I'm a lot more knowledge on Instagram, so I handle that mostly because she's like, what's this circle button do? Oh, it's a photo upload. Oh, whoops.
I need a little lesson on that.
Yeah, but all the hashtags, all the updates, that's me.
I used to call that pound, the pound sign.
Yeah.
That's the hashtag. Just like
she only recently learned that you could search hashtags and find the entire category. I'm like, that's the purpose of it, is so you can search the whole category.
I gotta say one other. When I was growing up, they called it Rick Rack, and now it's called
Rick Rack.
It was called Rick Rack or Zigzag, and now that's called.
I'm still lost.
The zigzag line, and people call it Chevron now.
Oh, the little carrot top.
Yeah. Go. I know. Say, it's that the zigzag line's been around forever. We just changed the name.
Mm-hmm. You and Father have some of the weirdest sayings. What did Dad say the other day? It was like...
I don't know. What?
I don't even know what he said. It was so bizarre where my brain, like, froze on me. I was like, what did I just hear right now?
I can't remember.
It was like the pig swine swishing sideways. I was like, what?
I don't know. I might have checked out on that one.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the gardens.
Okay, yes.
Because I love the gardens and the flowers and the trees. Mm-hmm. And Knoxville has many beautiful private gardens.
Well, I know we were looking up on the Dogwood Arts Festival specifically. I know they have a lot of garden events going on, and I was not familiar with them all, so I was learning as I was reading it.
Well, if you want to hit the main, they're called the spring. They had winter gardens, and here's the spring coming up. And it's going to be April 15th and 16th. And Dr. Solomon's beautiful property is only open once a year. And you get to tour his forest. It has statues and trees and flowers and bushes. It's almost like a forest. Mm-hmm. And he has, if you want to learn more about this, look up the Accidental Stonemason on YouTube, Dr. Solomon, and someone had done like a documentary of the garden, and you get a great idea of how gorgeous it is. So, and let me tell you one more. Fourth and Gill is a historic area in our Victorian homes, where many of most of the homes have been restored. And they're also going to have those gardens open on the 15th and 16th. So plenty to see then. Yeah,
I'm just looking up the Dogwood Arts Festival while you're talking about it.
Oh, let me tell you one more thing. If you, I just can't go the 15th and 16th. At the end of the month, on the 30th, Fourth and Gill is going to have their own Fourth and Gill association tour. They're going to open up 7 of the homes, so you can see inside of them. And they're going to open, let me see what it was, 8 of the gardens and 2 historic structures.
Okay. That's a lot of stuff.
I know,
that's a lot of adventuring to do.
And it supports their association. Yeah. What were you saying, honey?
I'll say that's a lot of things to do. You can occupy your whole weekend, multiple days. So I don't know about the whole...
So you got the 15th and 16th to do Dr. Solomon. There's other gardens also, but just go to dogwoodarts.org, look at spring gardens. And I think there's...
Is it .org or .com?
It's .org. I double-checked before we got on. Oh, is it .com?
Yeah, it's .com.
Oh, sorry. Fourth and Gill.
Yeah, I'm on it right now. So I'm pretty sure it's .com.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back. The Dogwood Arts...
Record scratch.
Go backwards. So say their website for the Dogwood.
Dogwoodarts.com.
Right, and fourthandgill.org, because they are an organization. That's
the key.
That's the key, yes.
Yeah, you can go on to dogwoodarts.com and go to their upcoming events, and they'll break down the dates for all their April and May festivals. There's some things going on all month long. I know they have like a music festival during April and a bunch of art festivals. I think the end of the month of April, they're doing a big like local craftsmen coming in to the World's Fair Park to set up tents and stalls.
We have a huge area that they had downtown.
What word is that called? I don't know.
The World's Fair. Woo.
Yeah.
Shoo, came to me. The World's Fair was downtown, and that's the portion of it that's left. So they have a huge festival space. But they have a lot of fun events.
So I have to highlight this. Oftentimes in my life, you'll go, "Hey Ben, what's that thing?" I'm like, "Mom, I have no idea what that thing is."
But I usually get him there.
Yeah, I need more details. If you start halfway through your sentence, I don't know what you're talking about.
If I give him just a few key phrases.
But you can tell me the wrong sentence, and then I can translate what she's saying to the reality. Especially if I know what you're already talking about, I can then...
I'm drinking apple cider, and it's delicious.
It looks good. I don't have a drink tonight. Usually I do.
This one has like tropical flavors in it. I traditionally like the plain Angry Orchard. This is Angry Orchard with flavors, but it's good. I think I like the traditional.
You like hard ciders.
Yeah, this is hard cider. It's not exactly apple juice.
Not for your casual drinkers. No. Hard cider.
Yeah, it's good. Let me have another sip.
I always find those commercials where they're advertising like a hard lumberjack guy hitting apple trees or whatever, Like it's hard cider because it's like tough, and I'm like, sure.
I must have missed that one. Speaking of commercials, which I have done a couple, did you just have a shoot this week?
Yeah, it wasn't a commercial. I can't go into many details
about
the show.
You can't talk about it until it airs.
Until it airs, and about a year from now, I'll tell you all about it. But I can talk to you about like the general vibe and my experience of it. There's a lot of reenactment shows that get filmed in Knoxville. Mm-hmm. I've done some that record the audio, some that don't. The one I did today doesn't record the audio. So you
can say you can't talk about it, but you can say the show.
I probably won't say the show just
just to make sure.
I probably can.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna not talk about the show right now.
Right.
Where was I? Oh yeah. So
just to give some of your experiences of being on set.
Yeah, so
it's interesting.
I've done probably close to 15, 20 shows now so far over different types of shows. Not the same type, not the same show, but different names. Like I've done Mark of a Killer, I've done Murder Chose Me, I've done a variety of different things.
Storms of Suspicion.
I've done a few of those. But the main difference, I'll talk about the differences first, and then I'll go into just what I love about it so much. If you go on a show that is recording audio, you can't like talk or make jokes or talk to the crew while you're there because directions given before the scene, and then everything is recorded as is, and then you can talk afterwards.
Yeah, like clipped to you.
Yeah, you have a mic clipped to you, or it's hovering nearby, depending on what set you're in.
Boom mic.
Yeah, boom mic. Yeah, so those are also fun. It's a bit more, I wouldn't say rigid or serious, but it's like they can't waste takes, or they can't talk over takes. Where like the show I did this week did not record audio. Not that we're joking and talking over while the director's giving instructions, but the director can give you direction while filming. Like while you're doing a scene, he can step over top and like talk to you.
And he said, "Go to the right."
Mm-hmm. He can yell at the camera guys to move somewhere else while already filming, get a different angle. Like, for example, I had to be emotionally animated in my scene. I had to, like, be upset in it. And, but not right away, at different moments or different angles where you want it. So he can say, all right, Ben, you can chill for a minute. Camera's not on you over here. All right, it's back on you now. Grab your face, pretend like you're upset, yell at whatever. So I had to get direction while, like, it was live. Where if you're doing,
because if it's recorded, he can't be giving you direction as you're filming.
For sure. Yeah. So, but my general vibe is I love it. I've worked with this director before in the past, and he is fantastic. Quick, funny story, which I told you already once, but I'll tell our listeners too.
Okay.
So this shoot was 2 days, so I had to go there 2 different days. So you kind of get a rapport of some of the crew because I remember you from the day before. But I've worked with them, I think last year maybe, something like that, where I've worked with them before. But he's also worked with you too, so he has a familiar interaction with...
I've worked on the show, show before.
And my second day leaving, which we talked the first day for like 15 minutes, just talking in between, changing scenes where he wasn't needed to be on set. As I left, I thought he was going for a handshake to say goodbye, but he wanted a fist bump. So I went for a handshake, he went for a fist bump. We changed where I went for a fist bump, he went for a handshake. He was like, screw it, give me a hug. So he gave me a hug. I was like, all right, I'll hug the director. All right. It was funny. I mean, it was funnier in the moment than saying it out loud, but it was...
it's hard to take you there.
Yeah.
But I'm watching him act it out here beside me, and it's very funny.
I was full body acting it out just now. This is our third time hearing it probably, too, so it's...
Still funny.
But it's fun as an actor when the director themselves comes to you to talk to you, and it's like, hey, I appreciate your work. Thank you for being here. You're professional. Because one of the actors on the first day, and second day, too, I guess, it was her first ever acting job she's ever done, and
you have to start somewhere, of course.
Yeah. Immediately, I was like welcoming her and trying to get rid of those vibes that I get nervous too. Everybody gets nervous. Mm-hmm. I was trying to help her settle down and be like, "Hey, it's cool. They're very chill. They don't record the audio. He gives you directions while you're acting. Like it's very late. I mean,
and his job's to make you look good.
Yeah.
So that
our job is to follow his directions.
Right.
His job is to give us directions and make us look the best we can. But he walked over that first day and like talked to her too because he overheard us talking. I think he just, as a director, I assume you want your actors to be comfortable and happy and especially lift each other up. So he's really cool. I would say his name, but I don't want that
to. I would say his name. Just I
would love to have him on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, maybe he'll come on.
But yeah, that probably down the road a bit.
Yes. Next week we have someone that we've known for a long time. I reconnected with him recently at a craft fair, and he has started 865 Life, and it's an apparel company. And you may have seen it around town. It's got the dog on it. It's not have his collar on. It'll say 865 Life. It's orange and white. And he's going to come talk to us about starting a business, coming up with the idea.
Mm-hmm. So this interview's going to come out for you guys listening.
Right.
Coming out next Monday.
Oh, next Monday.
Mm-hmm. That's going to come out for the listeners.
I got you. Oh, after you've heard, because you'll be listening on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So for us, we'll be recording, on a Tuesday. But for y'all listening, it'll be coming out. If you're listening to this episode, the day it airs, come out for you all the following Monday, or not the following, but 9 days from now.
9 days from now. And I know that
means theoretical math is weird.
I think you may want to cut some of that out, my son.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one more thing that I'm doing, though, personally. A friend of mine that I'm retiring on the same day with said, hey, let's sign up for this. It's the not-for-credit classes at UT. And even if I stopped getting the, the catalog, but it's still online, and you just go to non-credit courses UT. They have all kinds of courses. And we're signing up for the walking tour of downtown. And it's every Wednesday for 4 weeks. And we're going to do UT. Then we're going to do Old Gray Cemetery, which is fascinating, because I've been there before. Then we're going to do a walking tour of downtown and learn the history of all the buildings and what used to be there, and all the architecture. And
what's the date of this? I may want to go.
It'll be every Wednesday from 6 to 8.
Is it just April, or is it longer?
It's the month of April.
Month of April. And how do you find out how to do this?
You go to the go to the non-credit.
Well, for the listeners, because they don't know what UT's Tennessee's website.
Yeah.
Like University of Tennessee.
Yes, the real UT. Yes.
Because some people are like, Texas, what? That ain't UT.
No. You just go to non-credit courses, University of Tennessee.
And what does it cost?
It's $129.
Okay.
So know that.
But you get access to all the tours.
Right. For all 4 tours. Jack Neely leads
So it's like $30 a tour.
Right. And he is a former journalist, and he has extensive knowledge of all things Knoxville and the history of Knoxville. I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds worth it. I mean, for the expert you're getting is pretty inexpensive on the tour to go on.
And to go with a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll look and see if there's any more spots for you.
Yeah. My problem is getting 4 days free in a month back to back. That's tough, but I can try. But
we'll look into it.
I stay pretty busy. So.
I'll give him the free tour the next month. How about that?
Yeah, or we talk about everyone on the podcast and get your take on it.
Yeah. A friend of mine said she wanted to do it, but she didn't want to pay. So no names, but so I told her I'd give her the nickel tour.
Without even hearing who it is, I have no idea who it is. I can already guess who it is.
Yes.
I love her to death, but I can guess who it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about last week a little bit that I was going to see John Wick 4 this week.
Oh, right.
So I'm not going to go too in depth, because if I do, I'll probably make a little video on my actual breakdown of the movie, what I thought.
That's a good idea.
But I really enjoyed it. It's a long movie. It's almost 3 hours long.
Wow.
I think the actual runtime is like 2 hours, 52 minutes, which is a long movie.
And then you've got like 20 minutes of...
yeah, but that's runtime. That's pure...
I mean, you have 20 minutes before it starts, so being in the theater definitely...
Yeah. But I went with my dad and one of our friends, so we were there hanging out, joking around, talking the whole time. I had a beer. I just had one beer. I had a beer and me, a couple snacks, and we were good. We're just being dudes.
Well, I like a bargain. You keep hearing me this over and over. I heard you guys got a bargain on Tuesday night.
Yes. So Tuesdays, I know we mentioned this, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or last week, probably multiple times, how much we like movies.
Yes.
If you have a Regal app, because we usually go to the Regal movie theaters, it's what, $5?
$5 on Tuesday.
Yeah, every Tuesday is $5. I think unless it's a brand new showing, right? They don't do brand new showings.
It varies. Sometimes they don't for like the first 2 weeks. Do the deal for Tuesdays.
Yeah. Something I found out, which you didn't know about,
okay,
is also
amazing.
on Tuesdays. I don't know if it's just the Cinnabar we went to or all Regals.
And one thing I want to say, the Cinnabar has those wonderful recliners.
I know last week we talked about them a little bit, but that's super nice. Get your feet kicked up. That's the only way that I can watch movies now in a theater is
it spoils you.
Yeah, in a lounge type theater. But what I was going to say is something that you found out because we told you about it. is on Tuesdays also half off popcorn, which I didn't know about that. So our friend, I won't name him either in case he doesn't want me to name him.
Yeah.
He ordered popcorn, and the guy taking our order was like, "Oh, it's just so you know, it's half price on Tuesdays as well." And we're like, "Oh, great."
You just shared it.
I didn't eat popcorn, but
You could have shared.
yeah, but he took it home to his wife, who's about to pop. I believe. I think she's pregnant and she's almost due.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that. Just say her due date is coming.
Different generations.
Yes.
I mean it respectfully. It wasn't. I think she would get laughed at that.
She
that.
would, knowing her.
I think she listens to these too, so I'm sure.
Like, oh.
Sorry if you don't like that, but it's all right.
Maybe that's how she feels, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah, so that was Tuesday.
Oh, wait. I always think about snacks. If we had any good snacks. And although I can't think of any I had this week, someone at my son's work heard about the Whirly Pop popcorn.
From our podcast.
Because
she kept asking before we recorded our first episode, when are y'all starting? I love podcasts. So I was like, it's uploaded. We got our podcast going up. So
Ben today came home, made, basically you turn it into kettle corn. Made kettle corn in the Whirly Pop.
Unfortunately, they loved it. Unfortunately, for my taste, it wasn't as good as yours. You make it I put a little bit too much oil, I think, but it was still really good.
Let me just say this. I saw a little oil in the bottom of the container they brought home in, but I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah. I noticed that too, but to my defense, I was rushing to get back to work.
Yes.
So I didn't have time to hyper focus on what I was doing. Yeah. It was still delicious, but I tried to get just how much oil you said to get in there. It was a little bit more than I think I needed, but I didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to make it again. I looked at it it's fine. It's okay. So.
Well, they enjoyed it. Yeah. That's what matters.
Yeah. One of my coworkers, she was like, I want more because I made each of them a bowl, and I had more in the back in the kitchen. And she spoonfuled it down how good it was.
Oh, good.
And she was like, it's already gone. I'm like, well, there's more back there.
There's more to be had. I put a picture of it on my Made in the South podcast Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. I should have taken a photo of what I made, but I was going back to work, getting it for the ladies. I didn't think about the photo.
What I think I'll do, I don't think I put the actual recipe because I didn't realize I just innately and naturally made the dish.
That's true. Can I tell a funny story about that?
Yes, please do.
Because last night I was asking you, hey, what are your proportions?
There's nothing to proportion, yes.
I think we mentioned that joke about proportions because we went on a walk 2 years ago. And I couldn't remember what word I was trying to think of, so I said
balance or the same amount.
So I used proportion for how to divvy something up. And I was like, we're just gonna go with that word. So not every time we try to think of a word and we can't think of it, we say proportion. But I was asking you your portion sizes, how much salt do you use, how many kernels, how much oil, and you're like, I have no idea. Let me figure it out. So we kind of went through the steps, and then some things that she did that she didn't even realize she did. I think you poured salt into your hand to get an idea amount. And I was like, I guess you don't do a pinch, you do a handful.
And let the sugar and the salt go in the oil.
Yeah.
Before you put the kernels in.
You pre-mix it, you put it on a high heat, lower it down when you put the kernels in. She didn't even tell me that until she started going through it last night. And I was like, I'm glad I asked. Because I would just probably burn the crap out of it. So
it would have been easy to do. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
But it was delicious, though.
Good. I'm glad they enjoyed it.
Yeah. For a relatively, I say simple, it's the artisticness of it. It's not simple, but the raw input you have to do to make it is pretty simple, time-wise, and how much materials and cleanup is pretty low maintenance.
Delicious.
Yeah. For an easy, great snack, you can do for parties, for yourself. If you want some wine when you come home from work.
I have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Kettle corn and glass of wine.
Y'all couldn't see me, but I was pointing at her, so.
Yes.
Well, not one finger, at all my hands.
Yes.
It's rude to do one finger pointing. You have three pointing back at you, so. Yeah, they love that. I have speaking of recipes, I think I mentioned this to you when I was at the gym last week. One of our old neighbors, she makes this amazing chicken dish. And I will eventually post a recipe, and I'll make sure I'll check with her so I can say her by name. I'm sure she's fine with it.
We always like to check.
She's awesome, but she
had that when my husband's mom passed away, or maybe it was when we were taking care of her.
She's done it a couple times for us.
She was taking care of her animals. And so she was in and out of her house, and she left this dish in the fridge, ready for us to pop in the oven. So it also has that special meaning for our family.
It's a very southern dish. It's actually pretty healthy, too. The natural ingredients aren't, it's not lard and oils and all this heavy waiting.
A cup
thing.
of sugar.
3 cups of sugar, starch. No, it's nothing like that. It's basically like a chicken casserole type dish, but it tastes like comfort food. It heals the soul. I asked her for the recipe. So my funny story. It's where I was going with this.
Good.
So I hear food and I get distracted. I'm like, oh yes,
I know,
food,
snacks. Yeah.
But I texted her, I think Wednesday morning last week. Oh, not morning, Wednesday afternoon. I was like, hey, neighbor, do you remember this dish? Do you mind sending me the recipe? I would love to make it for my coworkers and bring it in and kind of surprise them with it because it's so good. I want to make it. And I don't hear back from her for a couple hours. So eventually, after work, I go to the gym to go work out. And after I do my cardio, I'm like mid-sets of, I think I was doing bench press at the time. And I was doing some dumbbell, some swings, do some ab workouts too. She calls me, and I have my earbuds in, which I would say the name, but maybe one day we'll plug them in sometime. You got your own earbuds now.
I have the same ones.
But my phone came through my earbuds, so I'll go answer the phone. I'm mid working out. I'll see what it is. I mean, she's calling me. Maybe it's important. And so I put in my phone, and she was like, "Oh, hey Ben, blah blah blah, tell me the recipe." And she's like, "Are you writing this down?" I was like. And she's like, "Are you okay?" Because I was breathing kind of heavily. I was like, "Well, I'm at the gym right now, and I'm mid sets right now." Oh, okay. I was like, "Can I call you back afterwards?" So, yeah, of course. So she just sent me the recipe, and I thanked her for it. And she was telling me like, "Here's the actual recipe," and I don't do it by the recipe. I have my own ways of cooking the chicken and seasoning it, all those things. So I was like, "I get it. We do the same thing.
Right.
We do a little bit of spitballing while we go."
I think when you make it, will you make it extra?
Yeah. So
I'm gonna request extra
for my office.
house.
You recommend doing like a half size, but for us, I'll do a full size. So take half to work, half for here.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you.
So yeah, because my boss has some like dietary requirements, just because he's trying to eat cleaner and healthier. I think this whole dish he can eat. So
oh, good.
Yeah,
that's always nice.
But yeah, my funny story was just she coming out of work and I was heaving and wheezing, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine. I'm just working out."
That's funny. That's funny.
Trying to be healthy.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Nice job.
This is just a tangent that I've thought of just now.
Tangent.
Speaking of working out, and we talked about Don earlier, about interviewing him. My personal trainer, who I've mentioned before, he does want to do the interview, but he is a recent father, like we said before. We're trying to find a date in April sometime, but he's not sure what days he can do yet.
Just tell him we'll work around the schedule.
Yeah, so that's why I said, I was like,
a good time.
I was like, I understand 100%. I was like, your wife needs you more than I need you. I get it. That's okay. But yeah, he was telling me this morning, while working out, and afterwards we talked to him too, that his dogs are a bit rambunctious. They got out of the fence and started running through the neighborhood, and one went into the one neighborhood behind him, and took him he got home like 6:00 yesterday. He got home or he finished finding the dogs almost at 8:00, and I was like, I know that pain, because I know Sadie, our dog, used to get out. I mean, she didn't go far. Sadie was probably next door, but she went out for a couple hours once, and
it's scary when your animals get out.
Yeah, especially if they're beloved and you love them a bunch. But she walked up to the front door, was like, "All right, I'm ready to come inside." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, he just sat out front, and then up she came.
I always try with all of our animals, or not cats, of course, but the dogs we've had, to on walks, make sure they get different routes around the neighborhood so they know how to get back to the house. In case they ever got out, they could come back. So.
Yeah, that was a good tangent.
Yeah.
Anything about animals is a good tangent.
I love animals. My coworker, she's a cat freak, or not cat freak, but she loves cats. So we talked about cats for a while today, and just talk about our animals.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Are you about ready to wrap up?
I mean, I'll talk for hours.
I mean, we could keep talking, but
I mean, I'm house sitting right now for our neighbor, for another neighbor. He has some fishes that I'm house sitting for. Got his mail today.
Good to have good neighbors.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I dog sat a couple weeks ago for another friend of mine. I know. Oh, I have one more story. Sorry.
Okay. We have another story.
We haven't really talked much the last few days, so it's kind of like, let me think of this. And with me acting, I was gone until about 8:00 last night on set, so I didn't really get home until late.
I know when you come off set, I know we both experienced this. Your adrenaline, you have an adrenaline rush. You're up really high.
Last night I was dancing and singing.
He was dancing and singing, and I was trying to finish my show.
Yeah, my parents were downstairs watching some movie or TV show.
Blacklist.
And I was there just standing.
Watching Blacklist.
I was just next to my mom, because I love when she smiles, making her happy and crack up. So I was there just being silly dancing, making weird moves. I'm dancing right now for it, but I was like, I was shaking my butt, I was swinging my hips.
I wanted to support him in his joy, but I wanted to watch my show.
Yeah. But I was just dancing. I was in a good mood. Now every time I'm on set, when I finish, I'm elated. That's probably what I love doing the most is being on set, recording things. I this podcast, I'm always on a high post podcast. If I do a voiceover audition, I'm always like, man, I just recorded a character. I just recorded a narration. I did all these things.
I get the same way. I like to paint, so I get the same way after I've been painting for a while.
Well, I mean, you've painted, you've made jewelry, you've done drawings, you've done literature.
All the things.
Yeah. My mother and I, we really enjoy doing creative outlets, whether that be drawing. I know I've done some digital art in the past. I don't have a pad, so it's painstakingly done with a mouse. But that was a lot of fun.
The icon that you see in Made from the South, Ben created that.
I whipped that together. I also have a little like private event bartending and serving business that I have. It's kind of like one day it'd probably be like an all event catering, like catering, photographer, all that stuff. But
and he can find all those people. He can organize all those people.
But that logo I made myself too, so I made that logo for that business. I know some people do that for a business; they just make logos. I like to do it in small bits and pieces, so I enjoy making my own artwork.
Now, if anybody has a good tablet, this is another tangent. I would like to start learning how to sketch on a tablet. So any brands or anything like that, I'd be open for those suggestions.
I'm just pulling up my joke because I don't remember how it goes.
I have my joke in my head.
I don't remember how it goes. So let me keep talking. I'm going to pull it up while...
I'll keep talking. I will tell you, if you do try some of these garden tours in April, you will want to buy all the plants at your garden centers because they're so beautiful and so peaceful. So be careful about going into a Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere like that because you'll want all the plants. All the statues.
Sorry, I heard a joke that I've heard and said before. I can't remember the punchline.
Oh no!
I may hold it off and look it up for next week. But
no, it's just about you don't both have to have one.
Yeah, I can't find it right now, and I want to be more organic, so I will memorize the joke for next week because it's a funny one for me. It's a pun, so I like puns.
I am going to one of my friends. I was telling about her daughter that had won for the Chalk Fest last year. She has a whole box of corny jokes. So I'm like,
we have that corny joke in my bookshelf in my room. Oh, remember that joke of from when I was like 7 or 8?
Well, this is a whole box, and they have some fabulous jokes in it. So I need to bring it home and.
So before you tell your joke,
copy it. I guess
for everybody listening.
Okay.
This is something I want y'all to do this week. Is Instagram message me or tag me in a post your favorite joke or find or your favorite meme.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And it might just be highlighted or
we might just read it on the podcast. Yeah. I like that.
And let me know, too, if you want me to say your Instagram handle as well. Because if you don't want me to share your name, I won't share your name. But let me know.
Or, I know when I go to Disney and we go to one of the, what's the name of that movie with the little...
Monsters, Inc.
Little creatures. Thank you. See, I just looked at him and kind of crossed my eyes and he knew. Monsters, Inc., they always ask you to submit a joke. So
we often get chosen for our jokes.
And they want you just put your first name and your city.
I will say I'm surprised. I've gone to Disney less frequently over the last 10 years or so. But when I've gone, I'm surprised that show still innovates. Like the people doing the comedy, like the actual voice behind it, like they got a lot more in depth, a lot more creative with it. Because the first few years, it was very like, here's a joke, all right, here's the scripted show. But there's a lot more off the cuff improv now, which is hilarious.
It's fun. But anyways, here's my joke. So we did just go to the Cheese Fest, so know that as I tell you this joke. They had some pins, and I got one, the kind of buttons you put on, and it had a little piece of cheese on it. It said, "Living on the Wedge."
That actually was a good pen. Oh, man, I just found my joke. That was good. Speaking of jokes, my coworker, she loves that we tell stupid jokes. She loves it.
Well, I got another one. I'm going to do one for you.
2 jokes? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do one for you.
I need you to carry my slack.
I'm going to carry his slack.
I'll do all the editing and producing. You do the jokes.
Why was Cinderella not a very good basketball player?
Why was Cinderella not a very good basketball player?
Yeah. She got kicked off the team, actually.
I don't get it.
He's giving me that. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
She kept running away from the ball.
Oh, the joke wasn't over yet. I thought that was it. I was like, what?
Well, I was giving him time to think.
I thought she was like, you don't understand the joke? I was like, I don't get the joke.
He's giving me the side eye, like, what, Mom?
I was like, that's not really a joke, Mom. Now it is. Joke's on me.
So, now you have two jokes.
Yeah. Anything finally you want to say or highlight or bring up that we haven't brought up yet?
As y'all can tell, I like to talk, but no.
Yeah, I mean...
Just come out to the Chalk Walk Saturday.
Yeah, if you want to see the Chalk Walk, we'll be there. If you're listening right when this airs, we'll be there until probably 3:30, 4 o'clock probably.
And send us your jokes. I love that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, send us on Facebook or Instagram.
And again, let me just say that one more time. Made in the South Podcast on Instagram.
Yes.
I mean, I messed it up.
Here, I'll say it.
Cut that out. Made in the South Podcast on Facebook.
Yes, and then Instagram is Made in the South Pod.
No spaces.
Mm-hmm. But I think you can search like our name, Made in the South Podcast. I think it'll pull up. If you don't search handles, I think it'll pull up.
We couldn't put podcast because it was too long.
Yeah.
That's why it's pod.
But you can also go to our website, madeinthesouthpodcast.com, and it has links to all of our social medias there as well. There's links to everywhere our podcast is hosted, and our Facebook and our Instagram and our email. It's all found online as well, or on our website.
Amazing.
Yep.
So,
I'm trying to think of anything else I want to bring up.
Not yet.
No, we got a lot going on. We have like 3 or 4 interviews hopefully set up for April. So you might be seeing some more interviews. We'll have a regular podcast as well on Saturdays. Every time we do an interview.
For you on Saturday.
Yeah. For all of our interviews, they will always come out on a Monday, even if we record for us personally on like the same day on Monday. They'll come out on the following week.
I really enjoyed interviewing Amy, so I'm looking forward to interviewing more independent business.
You definitely got a taste of it. You're like, I like this.
I like this. Yeah.
Well, one, you like talking and learning. So anything that you can do education wise, you're like, sign me up. But guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us for this evening and this podcast of Made in the South podcast. And what do we tell all the fine folks who listen to us?
Well, once again, always be nice. You never know who had to have indoor recess. And be kind.
Bye, guys.